Welcome everyone, Costin here on Serious Gaming with the Battle of Gettysburg in Ultimate General Civil War. Going to be playing as the Confederates in the campaign mode. I've amassed a massive army of over 100,000 men that I am then going to use against the Union at Gettysburg. And I do outnumber the Union, but they do have a very strong defensive ground. Now this game is based on Total War. The guy who made this series, Ultimate General, both Gettysburg, the first game was Gettysburg, then we had Civil War, this one, which covers the entirety of the American Civil War. The guy who made it was a modder for Total War by the name of Darth Vader, and he made Darth mod for Empire Total War. That's the most famous mod he made. And then he wanted to get hired by Creative Assembly, work on their games, and they flat out turned them down on multiple occasions. And so he decided that he was going to make his own game. So he joined another company, and smaller company, and decided to make his own title. Still similar to Total War, at least in battles, at least on a superficial level, but very different as well. Like Total War battles have just become brawls, really. Nothing more, just massive brawls. And I've just marched there, taken the ridge, destroyed the initial artillery that the Union has. So in this game, you do have to organize your own army, get your own units, select how many troops you want to put in those units, troops that do cost money if you want them to be veteran units. And you do have a limited manpower pool. You're limited in cash, you're limited in manpower, you're limited in guns as well. In this case, and battles themselves are fought in stages. So this is stage 1 of the Battle of Gettysburg. I can win in this stage, and I probably will. So the first corps of the Army of the Potomac is marching to meet me. They're going to throw some very elite units against me, including the Iron Brigade, one of the most elite units in the entire Union Army. That's what's heading towards me right now. So I could march over there to take Seminary Ridge, but there is no value in doing that right now. And also, I've got Butler's brigade coming in to take Oak Ridge. So that is going to be a bit of an issue. I do have reinforcements coming into the battlefield to help me out. 2 of these brigades I'm going to send south to support my units and their Pearsons. My artillery is going to prepare for the assault on Oak Ridge. My goal is to win the battle, hopefully on the first day, if not on the second day when my 3rd brigade comes in. I have a brigade, my 3rd corps comes in. I have a corps commanded by Lee, who is here on the battlefield. I have one commanded by Albert Sidney Johnston, who died then was one of the more gifted Confederate commanders, and was in charge in the west, whereas Lee eventually took charge of the east. And without him, the Confederates eventually just flat out lost the war in the west. They were at least stalemating the Union in the east, but they were just losing in the down in the west. Now I will have more reinforcements coming in. I am playing at the fastest speed. This game can be pretty slow, and I do want to get this battle over with quickly. You can play it at the slower pace. In fact, you might want to do so when you're a new player. I'm going to reposition these guys because it's very, very easy to lose your units here. Like what's happening here, I've tried to avoid the direct fight on open ground with the Union as much as possible because I want to minimize my casualties. Like I'm fighting an economic war as much as a military one. Well, or the economy of the military in the sense I need men. Those aren't easy to come by. So anyway, I am going to fight 2 entire Union corps over here on the first day. It can be pretty expensive, more Yankees reinforced, so more of the 1st Corps is actually arriving on the field of battle. So more divisions of the 1st Corps are arriving, and that's what the game is telling me. I am going to speed up. I am going to receive more reinforcements of my own corps, of my own first corps. So I'm getting flanked over there. That is a bit of a problem. I'm sending another brigade over there, splitting my army further. The Iron Brigade is here. They just haven't attacked the ridge, probably because the AI is clever in this game. Like, they will actually try and attack you at your weak points. Like, for instance, they know that this is my weak point. Why is this my weak point? Well, it's my weak point because these units are isolated. They're out in the open. And oh boy, that's bad. That's actually pretty bad. About face and stand your ground, boys and girls. Alright, we held them off. Took some losses, but we did held them off. So those are my reinforcements. My supplies are going to be needed. I do have cavalry. Alright, the artillery, keep them back. Alright, so with that sorted out, let's start an advance. Against Seminary Ridge. There's no one protecting it except artillery and skirmishers. The artillery is actually quite dangerous. Okay. Gonna get early out of there. The artillery should stand over here because I'm going to need to push it. Oak Ridge is ultimately not too relevant. Where is Lee? Oh, there it is. Where's my cavalry? Ah, there. Trying to steal my supplies, huh? So the battle here is a pretty big mess. Alright, another Union Corps has arrived on the battlefield. They've done a lot of damage, but they've also taken horrific casualties in return. Gonna allow them a bit of recovery. I want to push them too hard. Units do suffer debuffs with the mod I'm using. This JP Rebalance mod, the one that I'm using. They do suffer debuffs when their morale is low, when they get exhausted. And although your units can still shoot, even if they run out of ammo, they are going to shoot much slower, so keeping them supplied is actually fairly significant. Now, if at all possible, I'm going to try and take Cemetery Hill on the first day over here. The Union is going to withdraw once this per timer is out. Then I'm gonna start to receive serious reinforcements, not just parts of one corps, but two entire corps. At least 2/3 of my army will be arriving shortly on the field of battle. And the damage I'm doing to the Union is pretty significant, though I have also taken quite a bit of damage myself. There is reinforcements. We are ready to proceed to Cemetery Hill. Or at least to Gettysburg itself. There is my artillery pieces. Napoleon cannons. They need some ammo over there. I'm gonna send Archer to support over on that side. And more men are coming into the field of battle. They are going to actually be sent all the way there. All of them. That's General Johnston and at least half of his corps. Probably more, actually, if I'm honest. Alright, so I am not interested in just a simple weak victory. I'm interested in an overwhelming victory. Right, Archer. Alright, more men are coming into the field of battle. And what we want is to get Cemetery Hill. Which isn't really that heavily guarded, to be honest. Alright, the Union withdraws to Cemetery Hill. If I allow them to form up here, this battle is going to drag on for quite a while. So what I want to do with my units here, with my brigades, is to attack in decisive fashion against them. Now, here is the issue. There aren't a lot of units now, but there will be. So I actually can't just... Oh, we're gonna easily sweep them there. It's not gonna work like that. Okay. I've lost some colonels, some commanders have been wounded. I'm suffering from attrition rate. Early is getting himself killed over there. All right. All right, so Oak Ridge is mine. No problem. Yep, that's what I was afraid of. But I can hold them at least. Send General Johnston while I pin the enemy over on that side. Although what I'm doing is going to be very costly in terms of the men lost, it is going to be significantly less costly than if I let Gettysburg devolve into a 3-day battle. And I just smashed the Union to pieces there at the Battle of Gettysburg. I did lose over 10,000 men to do so, and I did push my men to the brink, but they suffered far, far more heavily. I just destroyed the entire Union Corps, and I did secure the important ground on the battlefield. So Cemetery Hill belongs to me now. Well, over 2.5 times the losses. Only one officer dead, which is a colonel. One brigadier general wounded. One colonel wounded. Yeah, I'd say that was an acceptable victory, especially considering it's Gettysburg and the defensive ground that the Union has, and the way that the Union comes on the battlefield. Because they're going to get a lot of men, especially when it would count. So you have to... I'm going to go with rapid fire. Or is it? Yeah, let's go with rapid fire. So yeah, I've lost some men, more than made up for it, of course. And then we have Chickamauga, where, because I won at Gettysburg, they are going to be suffering from it. How many men do they actually have here on the battle? Though it's probably not going to show me everything. 17,000, all right. That isn't the entire Union army. Now, at Gettysburg, I could have done a couple more things. I could have waited until the entirety of the enemy force was on the field of battle, so I would have been able to inflict more casualties. The problem is, Gettysburg, because you are assaulting strong defensive ground, can be a very expensive endeavor for the Confederates compared to some other battles. Even the ones just before it, which is pretty much the same, which is Chancellorsville. The thing about Chancellorsville is that Chancellorsville, there is a portion of the fight where the Union, you know, at least the early part, where the Union is attacking you. So I'm just going to get more men. Yeah, some units leveled up, did quite well for themselves. The second corps really didn't suffer any serious casualties. It's just the first corps that bore the brunt of the fighting over there. Anyway, Costin here, signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications. It's just something I wanted to show. This game is very interesting. It's certainly worth picking up. The reason I was I had an inkling to play this game again. I've played it in the past, completed it in the past. Well, partly wanted to try out the mod. Partly I was watching videos from the American Battlefield Trust, and it's nice to actually play through those battles in a video game. Just getting more artillery, trying to replenish my units, all that kind of stuff. I want to have my infantry brigades at least have 2,000 men or so. I think more than that, I mean, sure, if you could do that, more than that is generally a waste. I do have some brigades that are really powerful, or one or two brigades that are that have high numbers, but that's like a Nailer, but that is generally an exception. I do actually have an enormous amount of money right now, which, well, don't really have much to do with it because I am actually limited by manpower. Probably going to use the reputation system to get some manpower. But yeah, unfortunately, the biggest issue I'd say with the game is that you're supposedly having an impact by winning battles and the casualties you inflict, but the reality is it does not match these numbers at all, really. And the AI gets scale dependent on the number of men you have. So you can have 30,000 men or 100,000 men, close to 100,000 men. And the AI will match you. And in some battles, they'll even have more numbers than you. Like Antietam, or the Union is always going to have twice the amount of men that the Confederates do have. It's less of an issue if you play the Union, however. Things are a lot better in that perspective.